Welcome aboard, my name is Sharia, and you're listening to a brand new episode of the Aviation Files. Today we will discuss United Airlines facing a lawsuit for windowless window seats, ANA retiring the beloved R2-D2 787, Air Canada flight attendants going on strike, and a special section on a Boeing 747 SP that flew around the world for charity. Without further ado, let's begin. United Airlines is facing a class action lawsuit in California for selling window seats without any windows, with the lawsuit alleging that United Airlines misled customers by promoting a seat as a window seat without an actual window being present, often charging extra for the seat. The lawsuit represents a growing consumer protection challenge in the airline industry, where passengers increasingly pay premium fees for seat selections that may not deliver the advertised experience. The lawsuit limits claims to California residents who paid extra for United window seats without windows in the last 4 years, with free assignments for elite members excluded from the suit. The legal action is being pursued under California's robust consumer protection laws, including the Consumers Legal Remedies Act and Unfair Competition Law, which define deceptive practices broadly and cover misleading marketing. The issue stems from aircraft design constraints, where many aircraft do not have windows installed continuously, and as such, some seats that are located next to the cabin sidewall do not have a window present. This creates situations where passengers who specifically pay for window seats, expecting a view, find themselves facing blank cabin walls instead of the promised window experience. Preferred seating fees have become a lucrative revenue stream for airlines, with costs often ranging from $15 to $100 depending on the seat's location. In the specific case that triggered the lawsuit, a passenger paid $59 for United's window seat in 11A but got a wall instead, highlighting the financial impact on consumers who pay premium prices for features they don't receive. The lawsuit raises fundamental questions about truth in advertising within the airline industry. Plaintiffs argue fraud under California's consumer protection laws, with California's false advertising law supporting such claims. The case could set a precedent for how airlines describe and price seat selections, potentially forcing more transparent disclosure of actual seat features. United Airlines and Delta Airlines could face similar federal lawsuits, with a California law firm preparing to take legal action against both airlines over their practice of charging passengers for quote-unquote window seats that lack actual windows. This suggests the issue extends beyond United and could reshape industry practices around seat marketing and pricing. The outcome of this lawsuit could force airlines to be more specific in their seat descriptions, potentially requiring them to clearly indicate when window seats don't actually have windows, or to price such seats differently to reflect the missing amenity. Now, let's move on to a beloved aircraft that is soon going to leave the skies. All Nippon Airways, or ANA, has retired its distinctive Star Wars R2-D2 themed Boeing 787-9, marking the beginning of the end of a high-profile collaboration between the Japanese carrier and the Star Wars franchise. The aircraft, dubbed R2-D2 ANA Jet and featuring a full-body livery inspired by the astromech droid, completed its final round-trip service between Tokyo Haneda and Washington Dulles on August 6th. The aircraft registered JA873A and styled after the legendary R2-D2 droid, became an icon of ANA's fleet since its public debut in 2015. Introduced in 2015 as part of ANA's Star Wars project, the R2-D2 jet quickly became a favorite among both aviation enthusiasts and fans of Star Wars. ANA has announced the final flight of its R2-D2 Boeing 787 as it plans to end the decade-long Star Wars livery program by March 2026. The retirement represents more than just the end of a single aircraft special livery. It marks the conclusion of one of the most successful airline entertainment franchise partnerships in aviation history. All Nippon Airways will end its long-running Star Wars jet program in March 2026, which the airline announced this week. The program included multiple aircraft with different Star Wars themes, but the R2-D2 jet was arguably the most recognizable and beloved amongst passengers and aviation enthusiasts worldwide. The Star Wars-themed aircraft served as a powerful marketing tool for ANA, helping the airline stand out in the competitive Japanese and international aviation markets. The unique liveries attracted media attention, social media engagement, and likely influenced some passengers' booking decisions, particularly on trans-Pacific routes where the novelty factor could justify premium fares. The long-term impact on ANA's brand loyalty is debatable. Did the Star Wars theme actually translate into sustained customer preference, or was it a temporary novelty? Perhaps some passengers specifically sought out flights with this aircraft, drawn by the unique experience and novelty. I will say, however, ANA's in-cabin service is very, very good, so customers who were drawn to the aircraft and were drawn to book with ANA probably would stay with ANA due to their premium service and premium offerings. Anyways, the retirement of these themed aircraft may signal a broader shift into airline marketing strategies, moving away from elaborate themed liveries toward more cost-effective branding approaches. The maintenance and operational complexities of a special livery, combined with changing brand priorities, likely influenced ANA's decision to end the program. Now, with its retirement, one wonders if this signals the end of such elaborate themed aircraft concepts, or if airlines will continue to explore these routes to capture passenger attention. The success of ANA's Star Wars project demonstrated the potential for entertainment partnerships in aviation, but the decision to end the program also highlights the challenges of maintaining such collaborations over time. The R2-D2 aircraft's retirement represents the end of a unique chapter in aviation marketing, where airlines experimented with bold, entertainment-themed designs to differentiate themselves in an increasingly commoditized industry. Now, let's talk about a big piece of news that has been taking over the aviation community, which is Air Canada flight attendant strikes. More than 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants went on strike, with the strike officially beginning just before 1 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, after the union was unable to reach an 11th-hour deal with the airline. The work stoppage immediately disrupted Air Canada's operations, affecting hundreds of daily flights and stranding passengers across the airline's extensive network. At one point, there was not a single Air Canada flight that wasn't a code share or a partnership in the skies. The work stoppage stranded more than 100,000 travelers around the world, demonstrating the significant impact that labor disputes can have on modern aviation networks. Possible strike by flight attendants resulted in a scheduled lockout that may affect 130,000 passengers each day, highlighting the scale of disruption caused by the dispute. Air Canada issued the statutory 72-hour lockout notice on the Canadian Union of Public Employees, representing 10,000 flight attendants at Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge. After the union provided notice, it intends to begin a strike. The airline took preemptive action by beginning a phased wind-down of operations to provide passengers with advance notice of cancellations. Air Canada announced that in response to the Canadian Union of Public Employees commencing strike action, a lockout of the 10,000 flight attendants at Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge began, with the lockout taking effect at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time on August 16, 2025. This escalation transformed a labor dispute into a complete operational shutdown. Canada's government forced Air Canada and its striking flight attendants back to work and into arbitration Saturday, with more than 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants ordered to return to work by the Canada Industrial Relations Board. The government intervention reflected concerns about the economic impact of the strike during the peak summer travel season. The Canadian government moved to end a strike by Air Canada's cabin crew and require binding arbitration to resolve their contract impasse, an action that the country's largest carrier had sought but unionized flight attendants opposed. However, more than 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants continued their strike despite back-to-work orders from the Canadian government, initially defying the government directive. Air Canada planned to resume flights later on Sunday, a day after the government issued a directive to end a cabin crew strike. The quick government intervention prevented what could have been a prolonged disruption to Canadian aviation during the busy summer travel period. The strike highlighted ongoing tensions between airlines and flight attendants over compensation and working conditions, particularly as the aviation industry continues to recover from pandemic-related disruptions while facing increased travel demand and operational pressures. Air Canada, I will say, is not the first airline to experience this. A while ago, Lufthansa and a couple other airlines faced strikes as well. So this is an ongoing issue in the aviation industry, and you will get updates from me as we talk about the balance between profits and paying employees fairly. Finally, let's move on to our special historical story about Friendship 1, the historic 1988 Boeing 747 SP World Record flight. On January 29th to January 30th, 1988, a United Airlines Boeing 747 SP named Friendship 1 successfully broke the round-the-world airspeed record, completing the journey in 36 hours, 54 minutes, and 15 seconds. The flight was organized by the Friendship Foundation as a charitable fundraising effort, with tickets costing $5,000 each and raising approximately $500,000 for children's charities. The flight carried 141 passengers, including notable figures such as Neil Armstrong, the first person to walk on the moon, and Moya Lear, widow of Learjet founder Bill Lear. The presence of these aviation luminaries underscored the significance of the record attempt and helped generate media attention for the charitable cause. The record-breaking flight covered 23,125 miles, with 2 strategic stopovers in Athens and Taipei. The Boeing 747 SP was ideally suited for this mission due to its exceptional range capabilities and fuel efficiency, characteristics that made it one of the most capable long-haul aircraft of its era. The previous speed record of 45 hours, 26 minutes, and 55 seconds had been set by Gulfstream II, making Friendship 1's achievement a significant improvement of nearly 9 hours. However, the record was short-lived, lasting less than a month before being beaten by a Gulfstream IV. The Friendship 1 flight demonstrated both the remarkable capabilities of the Boeing 747 SP and the power of aviation to serve humanitarian purposes. The successful fundraising effort showed how high-profile aviation achievements could be leveraged to support charitable causes, creating a model that would influence future aviation philanthropy efforts. The flight also highlighted the Boeing 747 SP's unique position in aviation history as one of the rarest variants of the iconic 747 family. With only 45 aircraft ever built, the 747 SP represented commercial success. 747 SP represented Boeing's attempt to create a shorter, longer-range version of the standard 747. Though, commercial success was limited due to its reduced passenger capacity compared to the standard model. Today, the Friendship 1 flight is remembered as a remarkable achievement that combined aviation excellence with charitable purpose, representing an era when airlines were willing to undertake ambitious projects for both publicity and philanthropy. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening, and do make sure to support the Aviation Files however you can. Until next time.